It is so fun to be back here with KG and looking at what's happening with Saturn and Neptune. It is amazing. It is something that is really worth our time and attention because we can co-participate. So we're being informed by the mysteries. Saturn and Neptune coming together, creating a new cycle, a 35-year cycle. We'll talk more about that in a moment. And we are informing the mysteries because with our awareness, we are going, how do we want to create this new seed point when Saturn and Neptune, they're dancing very close together this whole entire year, but they're going to make their exact conjunction in February of next year. And so it might be helpful to look back a little bit to what was happening to in the last cycle. And that started in 1989. There were three times that Saturn and Neptune were conjunct. This in 2026, it'll only be one time, one seed point. We've got one chance at this. So, but in 1989, there was one in March, one in June, one in November of 1989, and it was interesting that that was a big year. I remember this because my kids were little, and I remember watching the news and all these things that were happening, like the fall of the Berlin Wall and the riots in Tiananmen Square, and the also the beginning and the end of the South African apartheid that formally began in 1990s, but the seeds were being planted in 1989. And so all of the old boundaries that Saturn represents were being dissolved by Neptune. And so something new could start coming in. So that's the opportunity we have as we're moving towards this new Saturn Neptune conjunction. And interestingly, the one happened in 1989 was happening in Capricorn. And now the one happening now is in Aries. So Capricorn was like the dissolution of the old rules and the old ways of being and all of that. And now we're going to have Aries, which is like, how are we going to do this in a new way? So I know you have lots to say about this, KG.
Well, for me, we are seeding with this Neptune-Saturn conjunction. I believe we're seeding love into form. That's the potential. And it is conjunct the IC of the US Sibley astrology chart. And I want to invite listeners, viewers to watch our recent YouTube show on the Saturn Neptune conjunct the US IC root of the chart. And a link, I will be putting a link. I suppose you will be putting a
We'll
link
put links.
below the video. And so we discussed the importance of the conjunction for the US and for each of us as individuals in today's show. And we really want to focus on visioning a new Earth and the rare Neptune, Saturn, and Aries and the 35-year cycle of collective transformation that it initiates. The themes being initiated increase between 2024 and 2027. And February 20th is, as Cayelin said, the only time they actually conjunct. So the previous Saturn Neptune cycle will complete as this new cycle begins.
So the one that started in 1989 completes in February of 2026, 35 years. Between.
Right. But we're beginning to feel this new
Yeah.
cycle coming in. One, you don't have, it's not a, I mean, yes, it completes when we get that new one, but
But it's another example of how we're in an ending and beginning
yes.
simultaneously. Things are ending with the previous cycle and already starting to begin with the new cycle. And that's what's been happening. Really, 2025 is such a brilliant example of ending and beginning constantly. Yeah.
So did you want to talk some about some of your ideas around this time as far as that of Neptune conjunct?
Well, if we think about Saturn representing form, structure, this reality, what is known, we can actually see Saturn. It's the furthest out planet, and we can see it with the naked eye. And then Neptune really representing the formless and what is unknown beyond what we can see with the naked eye because it's way out there. So we have to have, we didn't even know Neptune was out there till we could have telescopes to see it. So if we think about the known and the unknown interacting, they're merging these opposites, and there's an opportunity to dissolve the illusions of this reality. We have plenty of them, and to bring into form new dreams and new possibilities, accessing the field of all possibilities. Because if we think about Neptune being pure source energy, pure consciousness, um, the essence of pure, of possibilities. And when anything is possible, what do you choose? That's the challenge that sometimes we have. If you're a person who has strong Neptune signatures on your chart, it's like, what do I choose? I have that, so I've lived that one my whole life. It's like, oh, and then you find something that lights you up, and then you get on that path, and it's like, oh, thank you for that, because otherwise there were just too many things that were in the field that were making it difficult to to decide what path to take. So ultimately, we could imagine that we are seeding universal love into form. So I think that's our opportunity at this time. And that Saturn and Neptune, when they're working together, it's like giving us this all these possibilities. And Saturn can say, okay, pick something and let's bring that into form. Let's have a structure around that. Let's have a way of being that is sustainable, sustainable, effective, and gets results for the greatest, for ourselves individually and for the greater reality.
Yeah, so some of the images that come up for me or ideas are like spiritual wisdom, because Saturn is about maturation, whereas Neptune is spirituality, divine imagination, bringing that into tangible collective structures. So Neptune, the vision, and Saturn, the form, conjunct in Aries, a sign of pioneering new realities. So new gateways can open to birth inspired innovations grounded in sacred responsibility. Those are some of the ideas I have with this conjunction.
I love
Um,
that the idea of because Aries does like to blaze new trails. It, it likes to, it's like, and gets bored if everything's the same all the time. So it wants to go into new territory. So that makes total sense that both of these in Aries, it's like, how are we going to create something new and different that perhaps we've never even considered before?
so with Neptune, Saturn conjunct the US, I see what are some of the potentials for that. I see like a profound reseeding of the nation's spiritual roots and collective identity. And a generational turning point where the soul of America is called to reimagine its foundation. What kind of future are we building from the ground up? And who are we becoming as a people?
With Aries at the home and roots or the IC of the US chart, basically it says that part of the chart is looking at how are we living inside ourselves? How are we creating our home, being the United States being our home, if we're here and living in the United States? How are we doing that in a way that feels safe? Because Aries is all about how do we create safety? How do we protect what we love and care about? And how do we restore that cosmic order or that cosmic justice so that that's working for everybody and not just a few? So this is super powerful. And of course,
And
Saturn
it's
can
the
be,
fourth house. I mean, that's
yeah,
Cancer. So
right.
definitely.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying is how do we feel safe inside ourselves? How, if it's like, how are we creating safety in a way that is also supporting us to be authentically who we are? Because of course, Aries is very individualist and wants to be able to do what it wants to do, but in a way that doesn't do any harm to others. It's like, okay, I get to be me, I get to be authentic, I get to put my energy out into the world in a way that is also helping to keep everyone safe at the same time, and is not doing harm and is actually creating. Um, I mean, I guess the vision might be that everyone gets to be individually authentic together.
So, what do you see as some of the, for me, some of the lowest potentials that could manifest? Some of them are manifesting for the US right now, where we're descending into confusion, division, authoritarianism, uh, control, masked as moral authority, clinging to outdated ideals instead of courageously evolving into our soul purpose. So, what are, I mean, do you see that, or
Yeah, that
do you think that will
totally.
help us awaken? Do you think that really serves a divine purpose to help us awaken to a higher potential?
Well, of course, because that's the intent always. And sometimes you have to put a light on everything and anything that's in the way of that. And if the old structures that we have been tending to in our culture, so Saturn being about the structure and in our, across the planet, but definitely in the US, are not serving and are not helpful, those structures have to come down. Those structures, it's like you can't build a new house until you take down the old house. I mean, we could remodel the house, I suppose, but maybe it's just better to tear down the old one and create a new one that's more aligned with our vision of who we want to be and how we want to show up and be part of this as a maybe a planet that really honors and respects all life and sees the importance. And it's not, I mean, because Aries, the shadow side of Aries can be very much the conqueror. Let me just I'm a warrior and I can take you out kind of thing. So it's not about that. I don't think that's the essence of what Aries wants. It it has been the conditioning of a patriarchal culture that is about conquest and control and manipulation, and that has to really be undone for us to be able to have a more authentic, safe way of being in the world, which is what Aries really wants, truly wants. It's the heart of what it is, the essence of what it wants.
So, what is some realistic imagery that you might have for uh, manifesting some of these higher potentials and kind of transforming, making more of a positive future for ourselves? For myself, I see like local wellness hubs offering integrative healthcare, combining acupuncture, somatic therapy, and integrating AI diagnostics that are rooted in ethical transparency. City planning commissions inviting artists and ecologists to co-design green public spaces that nurture community and spiritual connection. Young leaders launching cooperative platforms focused on conscious entrepreneurship, using tech to support education, clean energy, and cultural healing. So, what do you see? Some of the things, what are some of the things that you could think could manifest that could help transform this to more positive energy?
I love all those, and I think part of it, part of the thing is how do we come together to create ways of being in on this planet that are sustainable, that work for everyone. And so though I love everything you mentioned, and there could be more, I'm not necessarily thinking of that right at the moment, but it's got to be sustainable. It's got to be something that works for the many generations to come, not just now. How we've lived currently is that it's like just take advantage and your bottom line is the most important thing. And if it hurts the planet, oh well, doesn't matter, just as long as we have a good bottom line. We got to get past that to where it's like, how do we do this in a way that where our children and our children's children and their children and their children and the generations to come are going to feel like they're coming to a place where it's doable. We can live together. We can support one another. We can be there for each other. So that's, I guess, what I'm seeing. The highest potential is we could do that and put our energy into that because, of course, Aries loves to take action for something it believes in, for a cause that it really feels aligned with. And in usually a worthy cause or a noble mission, something that it can put its energy into that's going to help transform the world and bring us back into greater balance.
So, to realize this highest potential of the Neptune-Saturn cycle that will be initiated on February 20th, 2026, um, I see that we all need to come together, as Cayelin said, and consciously participate in bridging spirit and structure, and bringing the invisible into form with integrity. So, I think Cayelin and I want to invite you uh, to share some practical ways you see to anchor these highest potentials. And we'd love to hear your visions. Cayelin and I invite you and all of our viewers to share your dreams and ideas for a new Earth in the comments below. What do you see humanity creating as we enter this powerful Neptune-Saturn cycle? We'll gather your input and create visionary imagery for our next show, where we'll explore how this conjunction interacts with other cosmic players like Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus and Sedna in Gemini, and how all of this empowers the USIC point and the collective transformation underway. So let's co-create the future together, and we really hope you'll participate.
Yes, I mean, when we're visioning and dreaming, because I may have ideas that you don't have, and you have ideas that I don't have, and then when we bring it all together, it's and begin to dream into all that together and take action towards the things that we really want to see happening here. It's so powerful. We exponentially increase the power of our ability to co-create a new way of being in this world. And we might each have our own individual vision, and that's fine. But as long as it's that high frequency, high vibration, it adds to the greater collective vision of what it is that we're moving towards, then we can do this. We got it.
So some of the ideas I have for grounding your vision and letting us know what that might be is just check into your intuition and see if you have any insights into tangible actions. What are you saying in your journals? Any designs, outlines, or plans? Uh, what are some ways to realize your dreams into projects? Maybe you can take your meditations into conversations and ask, what one real world step can I take today to manifest this vision I have for the kind of world I want to live in? What kind of sacred systems do you want to build? What kind of inspiration do you have that could bring us more towards a realistic future, not one that's elusive or illusionary? And how do you see aligning with like-hearted communities? How can we do that? How can we seek to do that? And what are you doing to live your values daily? What can you share with us that, some ways that simple things you do every day to bring spirit into form?
I'll just share something quickly that I do. I have a daily morning practice where I am inviting all the guardian angels and beings of light, master teachers, guides, ascended masters, helping spirits, power animals, ancestors. I ask them for love, guidance, support, and protection, and to help me stay grounded in myself so that whatever's going on out here isn't going to completely just take me into a realm of fear and whatever. So we can ask for that love, guidance, support, and protection. We can then also ask ourselves as we get up each day is what can I do in terms of just a simple act of kindness can change the world. The person doing the kindness, the person receiving the kindness, and the person witnessing the kindness being done, it changes the vibration of everyone involved. So if we can find ways of being kind to ourselves and to each other, that could be something that we do. We don't have to necessarily have a big picture of, oh, I want to create this, or maybe I want to go volunteer and be a part of this project that's helping to change the world. You can do those things, but these are things that you can do if you don't have that as something and also I think it can help lead us to find those things as well if we don't have something that we feel like we can put our energy into right now.
And
So,
something that Cayelin and I were talking about, you want to stay attuned to what's going on, but not focus your attention on it. You want to focus your attention on where you want to go, because what you focus your attention on is what you will create and attract into your life.
yes. Yeah, and having an intention. So, this year, my intention for the year is living in the magic of love. And so having that intention is guiding what I'm doing and the choices I'm making. So come up with an intention. It doesn't have to be that complicated. It could just be being more joyful or feeling inspired or trusting the universe or whatever it might be. You can have a lot of different ways that you create an intention to keep your focus on. And then bring yourself back to that when you find yourself getting off track, because that can happen, and it's natural for us to do that. But what we put our attention on, as KG's saying, and is what creates our reality. So we want to have an intention we can put our attention on in a way that happens every day, so
So
that
our choices are what we focus our attention on, and that is the fulcrum for this entire cycle, for this entire Saturn-Neptune cycle. So Saturn says build it, Neptune says dream it, and Aries says do it courageously and now.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Yes, dream it, build it, do it. Oh, dream it. Yeah, build it, do it. I love it. So good. That's a great summary of what's going on. So, do you have anything else you want to share before we wrap this up?
So I just think, people need to really be in touch with their soul guided values and what compels them to take action. Not to move away from, but to move toward what's going to pull you forward in life. That is positive and hopeful of creating something better for yourself, better for your friends and your family. And
Beautiful.
then also, we did want to mention Jupiter in Cancer, square Saturn and Neptune. We
Oh
did
yeah,
want to mention that. So Jupiter is heading into Cancer very soon. Um, when is it? What's the date? It's around
June
the
9th.
the
June
ninth.
9th is it
Okay.
reaches the zero
And
Cancer
then we
point.
have that new moon, the full moon, in Sagittarius, and it's a Jupiter Cazimi Sagittarius full moon. No, no, I'm wrong about that. The Jupiter Cazimi is the Cancer new moon. But
It's a solstice. Yeah, it's very close to the solstice.
yeah,
Yeah.
so so let's also, I think this Sagittarius full moon um with the Jupiter is squaring the Saturn Neptune. I think this is the first opening square of Jupiter Saturn. They were conjunct at the solstice in 2020, and now this is their first opening square. And the players really, I mean, I think that we'll get a taste, a feel for the kind of corrections. There will be, you'll probably be called to be making some corrections in your own life at this time, but it will also give a flavor to the kind of corrections maybe that are going to be called for as we have the opening, that first opening square with the Saturn Neptune conjunction.
Which will happen in a few years down the road
Yeah,
here.
it'll be a few years, but
Right.
that's we need to be setting. That's it's that opening is when we really activate and mature and really work on getting our intentions for this Saturn Neptune cycle really going. I mean, when we get to the square is when we'll have our first course correction and see if we're on our path for the intentions we set for ourselves or
Right.
not.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens on June 11th at this Sagittarius full moon, because the moon is going to be very close to an object in the or a place in the sky called the Great Attractor, and it's also going to cross exactly over because it's extremely out of bounds. This new moon, our full moon, is extremely out of bounds, so it crosses directly over galactic center, in essence occulting it, which it can only do during the 19-year lunar standstill. and so it'll be transmitting directly from the galactic center. And it just so happens that many geologists, biologists, or geobiologists, or whatever you call them, people that have been looking at this are seeing that the Earth and our whole entire solar system is now going through the galactic current sheet. And that is amping up the energy on planet Earth in a massive ways. And so here we have this full moon right in this zone that's going to be transmitting directly to Earth from this place. It does it once a month, but to have the full moon there makes it even more
Yes,
amazing, right? So these changes, everything that's the changes that are going on, I mean, we've talked about more sort of middle world kinds of changes, but it's even bigger than what we imagined. And I will put a link to a video I'm doing about this in the show notes if people want more information, because it's a little bit too much to try and explain now. But just so you know that the cosmic energies coming in is changing everything. And ideally, if we're paying attention and are focused on it, it's increasing our ability to be intuitive, empathic, see
absolutely.
coming all, up.
Especially with Jupiter in Cancer.
Yes, yes. And then, yeah, and then Jupiter and Cancer. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and that's good. You're thinking, seeing that that's going through the fourth house of the U.S. chart. So
And when it gets to zero Cancer, it's on the galactic cross at the galactic edge, which is inside the sacred hoop of stars, also a place that is very important to all the native cultures of the US and probably others around the planet. So it's right at the center point, and that can only happen here every 26,000 years. So we are in a remarkable time.
it's
And
remarkable.
other
Yes.
players, Jupiter in Cancer, Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and as you were saying, KG, Uranus going into Gemini with the Pleiades, and then Pluto in Aquarius. All these things are
A lot
helping
of
us.
players.
Yeah, it's a lot of players that are helping us to navigate this time that is about the shift from a one galactic year, 126,000 year cycle to a new 26,000, an ending and another ending and beginning thing that's happening. And so we are so fortunate to be here at this time and to help with this transition. Uh,
Birthing is a really a birth is a huge new birthing
yes,
for this part of the solar system.
beautifully said. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then also we did want to mention that the next Saturn Neptune conjunction will be in Gemini. So, both,
2061.
yes, 2061, and both Cayelin and I see this as being things are going to lighten up. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us to do to get things moving in the right direction. But I think that's a really good, hopeful sign since we're going to have this conjunction, the next one in Gemini. That should be a lot more fun,
Yeah,
playful.
and Uranus moving into Gemini will help lead the way for that. So we can start incorporating more fun already. We just had a new moon in Gemini that was absolutely amazing, and that was a seed point for more fun and play too. And so, yeah, it's not about all hard work. Um, if we're approaching it in the right way, it's like we can have fun with it.
Definitely. Well, my work is play,
That's exactly right. I agree. It's been true for me for a long time.
So this is the most potent time to align your vision with action. And the future is being drafted now. What are we building and who are we becoming? So we want to feature your vision. Cayelin and I invite you to share your visions, your dreams, your ideas for a new Earth in the comments below as we enter this powerful Neptune-Saturn conjunction. Who do you see humanity? What do you see humanity creating? What's calling to be built, healed, or reimagined? We'll weave your insights into visionary imagery for our next show, where we'll take a deeper look at the cosmic forces at play, including Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus and Sedna in Gemini, and their activation of the US icy point. Let's dream it forward together.
Yes, together is so much more fun that way too. So thank you all for watching, and hopefully you'll join us for as we take the deeper dive in the next time and include your dreams and your visions about what's possible. So until we meet again, bye everyone.
Thank you.